Once again, you're welcome to PJ Collection Clothing online class, and in this video I'll be showing us how to cut a button down shirt, short sleeve with a bishop collar. Take note, we're cutting a button down shirt, short sleeve with a bishop collar. Now these are the measurements we'll be working with. Now the chest is 40, while the stomach is 36, the shoulder is 18, the neck is 16, the sleeve is 9. We're working with 9. Remember, we said the short sleeve, while the round sleeve at the upper part is 14, that is the bicep 14, and the body length of our top, we're working 36. Take note, 36. Remember, we said it's a bishop collar, short sleeve, and a button down. Now the formula for neck is neck divided by 6 minus 3 will give you the width. Then the depth is the width value plus 0.5, that will give you the depth, or there are standards for it. For a neck of 14, 15, 16, or sorry, 15 and 16, the depth is 2.5 and the width is 2 inch. Take note. So having said this, we now go to our fabric proper. Now this is the fabric I'll be working with. I'll be working with this fabric. This is the fabric I'll be working with. Now take note, in cutting a button down shirt is different from that of our normal native wear. To begin with, first you place your fabric as shown, you close it as shown. Take note, you close it as shown. Unlike our normal senator top or normal native wear, this other part, unlike our normal senator top, this part will be facing you. Take note, this other part. But in this case, is this opening part that will be facing you. Take note. So you close this as shown, which is as shown. This opening part will be facing you as shown. Now, we said there are some fabric that are stretchy. Take note, if you take a look, there are some fabric that are stretchy. So you keep it at the width point. Take note, keep it at the width point. Okay, having said this, we now want to start proper. So the very first step you need to do is you fold. Remember, it's the opening part facing you. You fold 2 inch in. Take note, you fold 2 inch in for all button down shirts. I'm folding 2 inch in, so I'm marking this is 2 inch. This is the 2 inch that we use for the button down. So we use for our button holes and the button. Alright, to fold this in, you press it down. Remember, it's 2 inch. This folding is 2 inch. Alright. Okay. So having done this, we now want to start the cutting proper. Remember, the first step you do, you fold in. We said you do your folding in 2 inch. This is 2 inch. And this part, that is what we use for the buttonhole and fixing of our buttons. Okay, now the first thing I'm doing, I'm marking a straight line which is already straight. I'm marking a straight line which is already straight, and this line here represents our neck line. Take note, this line here represents our neck line. Okay, now the next point I'll be marking is our shoulder line. Take note, our shoulder line. To do that, the depth is 2 3/4. I'm using 2 3/4. Take note, that is 2.8 there, 2 3/4. Okay, now remember, this is our neckline, and from here to this point is 2 3/4 inch. Take note, 2 3/4 inch. All right, now the next thing, and this line here is our shoulder line. This is the neckline, this is our shoulder line. So at this point, the width here is 2 1/4 inch, 2 1/4. Take note, 2 1/4 inch. Then you now make a nice curve as shown. Make a nice curve as shown, as you can see. Alright, so having done this, take note, from this point to this point was 2 3/4 inch, and from this point to this point 2 1/4 inch for a neck of 16. Sometimes you can just go with the standard from this point to this point, 2.5 inch, and this point to this point gives you 2 inch. It still work perfectly well. Now, remember, this is our shoulder line. This line here is our shoulder line. So you now put your shoulder measurement. Our shoulder is 18, so that will be 9. Remember, we're cutting the front panel alone. So our shoulder is 18, which is 9. Then add 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So you mark at that point. You mark at that point. You now connect this point to this point. Take note. You connect the 2 points here down. Okay. Now, the next line we want to get here is our chest line. Take note. We want to get our chest line. Now, to get our chest line, you divide your shoulder by 2. Take note. Divide your shoulder by 2. And our shoulder is what? 9 inch. Sorry, our shoulder is 18. 18 divided by 2 gives you 9. So from this point, take note, from this shoulder line down, remember we said to get your chest line, divide your shoulder by 2. Sometimes you can divide your chest line, sorry, your chest measurement by 4. You get the value. Now take note, we are cutting the front panel alone, just the front. So instead of marking exactly at 9, remember 18 divided by 2 gives you 9. That is the shoulder. 18 divided by 2 gives you 9. But because we are cutting just the front panel alone, I'll subtract 2 inch away from it. So 18 divided by 2 gives you 9, minus 2 gives you 7, because we're cutting the front alone. So this is 7 inch. So this is our chest line. This is our chest line. Now, at this chest line, remember our chest is 40. So from this point, you now put in your chest measurement. You put in your chest measurement, and the chest is 40, which is 10. You now add sewing allowance, which is 1.5 inch sewing allowance. Okay. All right. So you have this there. Let's. Now, at this point, to bring out at least 1 inch, take note, 1 inch. Then the middle between this, you move down by 1/2 inch. You now get your armhole. This now are your armhole point. Take note, your armhole. So you now bring this to connect these 2 lines together as shown. Okay. So this is how to get your armhole. Remember, from this point to this point was a shoulder divided by 2. You subtract 2 inch away from it because we have the back to cut. Now, you now connect, take your chest measurement, then you now connect these 2 points as shown using your armhole curve. Now, the next thing I'll be taking is the full body length. And to do that, you take from this point down. Full body length is 36. So from this point down to 36, and I'm adding 2 inch folding allowance. Okay. All right, so that is the top length. Now, in every top, take note, in every top, now you sew from this. Remember, we have the stomach. The stomach was 36. Take note, the stomach was 36. Remember, the chest is 40. Now, remember, you sew at a point, you sew for a short top, you sew and stop at 14 for a short top. Then for longer top, you can sew and stop at 16. In this case, I will sew and stop at 16. Take note. So in between this point, remember, now in between this point lies your stomach. So you can decide to shape it a little. This is where you sew and stop, and this is where your slit starts from. This is your slit. Take note. So at this point, we're not through with our front panel, so we do the cutting now. Okay, so at this stage, as you can see, we're not through with our front panel. These are front panel. We now move over to the back panel. Okay, so we're through with the front. We now want to cut the back. So to do that, you fold the fabric into 2 again as shown. Fold the fabric into 2 as shown. Make sure that the stretchy part is always at the width. The reason is that in case the person is adding up, all right, so after folding, the width still remains the same to that of the front. Place this as shown. Place this as shown. Okay. All right. Okay, now step one, the back is very easy and fast to cut. So step one, when you've done this, you cut this point down. Take note, you're not cutting, take note, you cut not to this point, you take it down to this point, and okay. So when you're through, the next thing you do is watch carefully at this point. You now drag this down by 4 inch. Take note, drag this down by 4 inch, take it down. Okay, 4 inch. Now let's confirm if this place is a 4 inch. Remember, after cutting this point, you take that down by 4. This is exactly 4 inch. All right, perfect. Now let's work on this part. The next thing you do is you now fold this on top of the front. At least shouldn't exceed ½ inch. Take note, it should not exceed ½ inch. So you fold this on top. Make sure it shouldn't exceed ½ inch. Okay. All right. So you now use this to trace. Watch carefully. You now trace this. Remember, you don't cut from here. Take me, you don't cut from here at all. You're cutting from here down, tracing this. Okay, you're tracing. Now you stop at this folded point, you open this. Take note, you open this, and you now continue from here. All right. Okay, there is something I forgot. Please take note, there's something I forgot. Remember the chest. Let's focus on this part. Remember, the chest measurement was 40. Take note, the chest measurement was 40, and we divided it into 4, and the value we got was 10. Remember, the front is 10 because it's on fold, so 10. Now I added another 1.5 inch for folding, for sewing allowance. Please take note, you also add ½ inch for overlapping. Remember, we're making for a button down shirt. Remember, you add another ½ inch again for overlapping of the side of the button and the side of the buttonholes. Please take note, I forgot to mention that while we're cutting the front panel. Take note, after adding the 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance, you also add another ½ inch or 1 inch if possible for the overlapping for that of the front. Remember, we're making for a button down shirt. Take note. All right, so having said that, we proceed. Okay, now remember our shoulder is 18, so you mark again, which is that. As you can see, you now use this to trace. So use this to trace the previous one there. Okay, you just use this to trace the remaining part. So this is how easily we cut our button down shirt. Okay, we are now through with that of the front and back panel. So the next thing I'll be showing us is the various components in which will be the components we'll use to make this. Please take note, you put a notch. Remember, this was the folded part. You put a notch here. As you can see, put a notch here, which is as shown. You also put a notch at the down part to help us. So in the next video, I'll be showing us various components in which we'll do before we start the sewing proper. Okay, so now remember, let's quickly pick up the front panel. Remember, you automatically have, remember, this is the wrong side. This is the wrong side. This is also the wrong side. Okay, now remember, let's pick up one. This is the folded, this was the 2-inch folded extra. Remember, one side goes for the button, then one side goes for the buttonhole. Take note, one side is for the button and one side is for the buttonhole. Now, okay, this is what I'm talking about. All right, so now the side that you fix your buttonhole, is at your left part. Take note, while the right part goes for the button. So now you get your paper gum stay. Take note, you get your paper gum stay at least 1 inch wide. Take note, 1 inch wide, and you place it as shown here. Okay, I'll show us that in our next video, the components preparation. Thank you once more. You're watching PJ Collection Clothing Online class. Okay, so at this stage we're now through with cutting both the front and the back panel. Now we want to prepare the various components in which we use to do the sewing. So to begin with, now you pick up, remember the front panel is divided into two, the left and the right panel. Now you pick up you indicate, remember the side that will go for the button is at your left. The side that will go for your buttonhole, the side that will fix in our buttonhole is at your left, while the side that will use for the button is at your right. Okay, so now this is our right panel, this is our right panel, while this is our left panel, this is our left panel. So what you now do is, remember we fixed a notch here, remember we fixed a notch. Okay, so this is our, remember this is our left panel, and that is the part where we'll fix buttons. So what you do is, this is a notch, remember we folded 2 inch, take note, we folded 2 inch, so I had to reduce it back. So here with me I have from the 2 inch that we folded initially, I have 1.5 inch. So we now fold, remember this is the notch of the 2 inch that we used previously. So you fold this to 1/2 inch. Remember, you now do the folding down to 1/2 inch. Remember, you're doing this to the wrong side. Take note, you're doing this to the wrong side. And this is the left panel. Take note, sorry, the right panel. Take note, this is the right panel. And you fold this, make sure the folding should not exceed 1/2 inch as shown. So when you're through, you keep this aside. Then the next one is the right panel. This other part, that is where your buttonhole will fix our buttonhole. Is at the right panel you fix your button. So you get a paper stay, a strong paper gum stay, 1 inch. Take note, remember this is the 2 inch that we use in our cutting, the 2 inch what we used. Now you get a strong paper gum stay, 1 inch, and you place it exactly at the line of the 2 inch. As you can see, this is make sure this is the 2 inch that we used previously. So you place it, this is the wrong side, take note, sorry, the good side, this is the good side. So you get your strong paper gums and you cut, the width should be 1 inch, and make sure it should be as long down to the end, as you can see, down to the end. So you place this as shown, then you now fold, remember this is the good side, then you now fold this as shown, making sure that this folding, the reason why we are putting this paper gum stay, these are the parts where we'll do our buttonholes, the buttonholes. So you do this down, you press it down, so you leave this as shown. Okay, so now go to your sewing machine. Take note, when you're through with this, you go to your sewing machine and you top stitch here down, then you also top stitch this other part down. So you do this, then remember this other part too, you top stitch, remember it's open, so you top stitch this too. So let's do that now. Okay, so as you can see, I've done the sewing. As you can see, I've done both sewing. Then also this other part as well, I've also done the sewing, as you can see. Alright, so the next thing, watch carefully. Remember we said while cutting, you add 1 inch for overlapping. Take note, you add 1 inch for overlapping. So you place this as shown. Then you now place the second one. Remember, this is the second part that goes for the buttonhole rather. This part goes for the buttonhole, so it will overlap this other part that you fix your button at. Make sure it covers this, make sure the overlapping, take note, it covers this line, take note, and we said 1/2 inch overlapping. Okay, make sure it covers it very well. Okay, so we now go to our sewing machine to tag this in place. So we'll just tag this with the loose stitches, just tag it in place. So let's do that now. Okay, so I've tagged this in place. We'll still use it later on. I just need to tag it in place. So we're through with this for now. Remember, we're fixing a welt pocket for it. Remember, we said we're fixing a welt pocket. So from this shoulder point, from this shoulder point, you mark from this shoulder point, you mark 9" down. 9" down. This is 9". So this is the point where I'll be fixing my welt pocket. I'm fixing for both sides, both left and right. So I need to iron this down. At point of 9". I'll be fixing the welt pocket, both left and right. Okay. Alright. So at this point, I'll fix our welt pocket. So to begin with, now you get a soft paper gum stay. Now this is a good side, so you gum this. Okay, so remember this is a good side, and we said from this point shoulder down 9". Then get your paper gums, a strong paper gums, you place it at the bottom, both sides. Also place this at the bottom, both sides. That is where we want to use to fix our welt pocket. Okay. Alright, so we're through with this. So the next thing I'll be preparing is the welt pocket. So I want to use black for it. I'll be using black for this. So you get the black pieces or the piece of fabric you want to use. Then you get your strong paper gum stay and place it as shown. Now the width I'll be using here is 5". I'll be using 5" here. That is the wideness, and then the depth here is ½ inch. So you mark from this point to this point 5". Then the width here, the depth here is ½ inch. Take note. Then you mark the middle here. So the half of 5" is 2.5. Take note. Half of 5" is 2.5, which is this. Okay, so you do this. Since I'm using one for the left, one for the right, so you do this at the wrong side. Take note. This is a good side, and this is the wrong side. Remember, 5". ½ inch, and we're doing a single welt pocket. Okay, so we now want to fix our welt pocket. Now I'll be fixing a hook, kind of a hook that we use for the welt pocket. So what you do is you prepare this in form of a belt loop. One, take note, you fold this 1, 2, 3, and you sew. Just sew at the tip, both edges. You sew. Take note, 1, 2, 3. So you sew both edges. When you're through sewing, you arrive at this. You arrive at this. Now you place this as shown. This is the wrong side. This is the wrong side, and this is the good side. Now the wrong side facing you. Now fold this 1. Now fold this 2. As you can see, you fold this. So take note. This is the wrong side facing you. Fold this 1. Fold this 2. Then you top stitch this edge. Top stitch this edge. So let's do that now. Okay, so now we now want to start sewing the welt pocket proper. So first thing, this is the point. Remember, there is a paper gum stay at the back. So this is the point where from this point to this point I'm using 1.5 inch. So you pick up this, making sure that this point is exactly, take note, this point here is exactly at this point. Take note, this point here. So you make sure. Then the middle of this, the middle of these 2 point lines should be in line with this. Take note. So you place this as shown. Now go to your sewing machine. You sew from this point. Remember, we said there will be a hook at the middle there. There will be a hook. So this will be at the middle point here. Take note, to be at the middle point here. So first, okay, remember we said this will be the hook. So it will be at the middle point. Take note, it will be at the middle point. Remember, you place the wrong side facing you. The wrong side should be facing you. At the end, you'll bend this down. So make sure at least keep this as shown. Keep this as shown. Then you now place this. The next one, you place this as shown. So you now sew from here to this point. Then you skip your needle and sew from here to this point. Take note, you sew from here to this point, and you sew from here to this point, and this will be at the down. So by the time you're through, this will just turn to something this way, where you fix our button. So let's do that now. Okay, so as you can see, I'm through with the sewing this point, and so you pick up just the black pieces alone, and I'm dividing it into 2 equal parts. Okay, now you pick up everything, you fold as shown, then divide all together, all this time around, all together as shown, as you can see. Remember, this is at the down. Take note, as you're seeing this at the down. So now cut this, you cut and you cut. When you get to the 1/2 inch, this point, you divert this way. Take note, you cut and stop somewhere here, then you divert this way. Watch carefully. You open this, you divert. So the point where you sew, make sure you don't exceed where you sew. Take note, don't exceed the point where you sew. Do the same thing for this other part. Once you exceed the point of sewing, you automatically spoil everything. So you cut this. When you get to the 1/2 inch spot, you stop. Then you divert as shown. The same thing for this other part. Remember, we're doing a single welt pocket. Okay. So when you're through, you bring this in, everything. You bring it in, inside, everything inside. Everything inside. As you can see, this will stay there, as you can see. Now, then this other part, you don't bring everything in now. The distance, you keep the distance and the width. Remember, we used 1/2 inch, so you fold and keep that 1/2 inch. Take note, you fold and you keep that 1/2 inch. Remember, we're doing a single welt pocket. As you can see, the 1/2 inch. Then you fold this inside that 1/2 inch to cover it up. Fold it inside. So you adjust. Remember the hook. This is the hook. So as you can see, okay, so as you can see now, that is it. So you now put a fancy button at this spot. Okay. All right. So this is the hook, as you can see. So now put a fancy button at this spot here. All right. So now go to our sewing machine and you open this. Go to your sewing machine. You tag this part. You tag this part. You also tag this other part. So let's do that now. Okay, as you can see, I've sewn this part. So the next thing I'll be doing is to sew this round. Sew this round. So watch carefully. So I'll use my interlocking machine to interlock the excess or weave this excess as shown. So this is how to make a welt pocket with this. So these are welt pockets. Okay, so as you can see, these are welt pockets. Remember, I said I'll put a black fancy button at this spot. So this is how you make the welt pocket with the hook as shown. Alright, so we're making for the second one. Okay, so we're now through with our front panel. 2 welt pockets as shown. We're through with this, so we'll keep this aside. Now you now pick up our back. First, This is my back panel. Now this is the wrong side. This is the wrong side, and I picked up the black fabric, kind of a designer's inner yoke. Remember, this is the wrong side, and the width here is, I use 5 inch. So you cut this shape for the back panel, you cut it exactly, then you now sew it on top as shown. Remember, this is the wrong side. Do it at the wrong side, kind of a designer's inner yoke. Now when you're through, you now pick up your yoke. You also, this is my back yoke. This is my back yoke, as you can see. This is my back yoke. If you watch our previous videos, I've showed us how to cut yoke. I already showed us the combing, everything. Now the depth here I used, remember the inner yoke, the design inner yoke was 5 inch depth. In this case I'm using 9 inch. Take note, 9 inch. So we now want to join the two together. So first, step 1, you pick this. Step 1, you pick this, which is the back yoke. This is the wrong side facing you. Then the second one you pick is the front panel, making sure that the wrong side facing each other. This is the wrong side of it. This is also the wrong side. So then the third one you pick is your yoke. So now go to our sewing table to do the joining now. Okay, now we want to do the joining now. This is the back panel, the wrong side facing you. This is a good side. Then you now pick the front panel. This is the wrong side and this is a good side. So you put this together as shown. At the shoulder slant, these are the shoulder slant. Put it together as shown. Now pick up your yoke. Now making sure that this is the good side, facing the good side of this. Place, put the tray. Remember, while we are cutting the back, we folded the back on top of the front with ½ inch. So that is the ½ inch you'll be sewing. Take note, 3 of them together. At the shoulder slant, you're not sewing out ½ inch. So the back panel, the front panel, then lastly the yoke. So the shoulder slant ½ inch. Okay. Do the same thing for this other part. The back, the front, and the yoke. Sewing off ½ inch. Okay, so when you're through, when you now turn this, watch me turn this. Remember it was, so you now turn this, you open this. Remember you're just turning this. So now top stitch this point here. Remember it was as this, so you're taking this way. So now top stitch this point as shown. You're top stitching the shoulder point. Then the truth of stitching. Okay. Alright, so we now close this. Finally, we close the yoke down. Remember, it's not closed yet. We only top stitch this point, as you can see. We only top stitch this point. Okay, so now the next thing, remember, the last point is you close the yoke. You now want to close it down. So you now sew. To close it, remember it's open. So you now sew from this point to the ending. Trying to sew the yoke. Okay, so we're not through. So that is how you join the front, the back, and the yoke together. Okay, so as you can see at this stage, we're through joining the front, the back, and the yoke. We're also through fixing our welt pocket. So in the next video, now take a look at this point. As you can see, it's not properly trimmed, so I still trim it properly neat. As you can see this point, I'll trim it properly. Remember, our neck circumference is 16, so I'll just trim this a little bit neat so it's looking round. Then also at this point, I also trim this part. I also trim it very neat. So at this point, the next thing I'll be showing us is to cut our sleeve where we'll join. We'll be fixing our sleeve and also the turtleneck. Remember, we're making a button down shirt, turtleneck, short sleeve, and a welt pocket. Okay, so at this stage, we're now through with every other part. As you can see, I've adjusted the neck circumference. Remember, our neck is 16, so I only trimmed everywhere to be neat. Okay. Alright, now let's focus on the arm. We will now want to cut our sleeve. Now, let's focus on the sleeve. Now, this is our armhole. This is our armhole. So you need to take the measurement. It's 10.5 inch. Remember, it's 10.5 inch. So you make this other part, before we cut our sleeve, you make this other part deeper. The front panel should be deeper than the back panel with at least ½ inch. Make sure it's deeper with at least ½ inch. Then put a notch, fix a notch here. You also do the same thing for this other point. Make sure the front panel of your top is always deeper than that one. The reason is because if you take a look at some senator top or some native wears, you notice that this armhole region is squeezed or rumpling. You notice that this armhole region is squeezed or rumpling. So the reason why we need to make this other part deeper is to avoid that you see it on the person's body after now. So remember, our armhole, the depth is 10.5. So now we want to cut our sleeve. So to cut our sleeve, get your fabric that you want to use. This is the fabric I want to use for the sleeve. You now fold it into 2 as shown. Remember, you fold it into 2 as shown. Now make sure that there's some fabric I said are stretchy. Make sure that the stretchy part is at the width. Take note, the stretchy part is at the width. So you fold this into 2. Now, how do you know that your folding is okay? Remember, the armhole of our top was 10.5. So you make sure that this folding should be more than 10.5. Take note. So with me, I have 12. All right, perfect. So now in sleeve, we have the outer sleeve and the inner sleeve. Take note, we have the outer sleeve and the inner sleeve. The outer sleeve is longer than the inner sleeve within 3 to 5 inch. As in, the outer is longer than the inner. It ranges from 3 to 5 inch. So I'll be marking a straight line, and this straight line is my outer sleeve. And we said the outer sleeve to the inner sleeve ranges from 3 to 5. So for adults, I'm using 4 inch. So I'm marking 4 inch. Okay. Now I'll be marking another straight line, a slant line as shown from this point. Take note, from this point here, marking a slant line as shown. Okay. Now, as you can see, now you move down, you move up at least ½ inch. Okay, let's have the middle of this here. This is the middle here. Assuming this is the middle, you move up ½ inch, then there ½ inch. So now make a slant, an inverted X as shown. Take note, watch carefully. From this point, an inverted X. Okay. So now remember, the armhole of our top was 10.5 inch. So from this point, watch carefully. From this point, you now measure from here down, 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 10.5 inch. But I'll not use exactly at 10.5 inch. I'll mark mine at 11 inch or 11.25. The reason is because sometimes if you're sewing your sleeve to your top, you notice that the sleeve is shorter than the top. So instead of marking 10.5 inch exactly, I'm using 11 inch or 11 inch 1/4. The excess, I'll weave it out. So mark it, this is 11 1/4. Okay, now at this point, my sleeve length is 10 inch. So this is 10 inch. Then I'm adding folding allowance, which is 1.5 inch. Then I'm adding sewing allowance, which is 1/2 inch. So I'll quickly fold this. Remember we said the sleeve length from this point, this point, 10 inch, then 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. Then this one is the folding. Then the round sleeve is from this point. The round sleeve is 15. So from this point here, from this point is 7.5 inch. Then I'm marking, adding 1 inch. So you now connect this line to this point. So now cut. Okay, so this is how you cut a sleeve. Take a cut as so quickly fold. Remember this is the good side. So now fold this. So you iron this down. Okay, so now go to your sewing machine to run this. Remember you folded this. You now go to your sewing machine to run this. Now if you want to design this, maybe you want a black to be shown at the background, you can quickly get a piece of black, then you place it under before you fold. Then you fold this on top. You notice, you see the tiny black showing, as you can see, kind of a design. But in this case, I'm not using it. Alright, so you fold this back. Remember, it's 10. Remember, it's 10. This point should be 10.5 inch at the end of your folding. So when you're through, you put a notch, fix a notch. So now this is how we cut our sleeve. Okay, so at this stage I want to show us how to fix the sleeve. So we're fixing our sleeve. Now I'm through with the folding and the sewing. Now these are good side, this is a good side, this is a good side. Now these are sleeve. Now this is also the good side. Remember there's a notch, as you can see there's a notch here, and there's also a notch here. So the notch to the notch. So I'll first of all sew one part, good side to the good side, sew 1/2 inch. Remember we added 1/2 inch. So you maintain that 1/2 inch down. Remember we're sewing 1/2 inch. As you can see the continue to sew that second part. So remember we're still sewing 1/2 inch down, 1/2 inch, the sleeve and the top, we're just sewing 1/2 inch. As you can see, the sleeve and the top were equal. That is how you sew for the second part. Okay, so I'm through fixing the sleeve. You're through fixing both sides. So what to do next is to weave the top round. So now do the weaving round. Okay, so I'm trying to do the weaving now. Okay, so we're now through with the weaving. Now we now want to do the joining. Now this is a good side, this is a good side. So what to do now, close it, starting from the sleeve point. This is the sleeve point. Remember the round sleeve is 15. So that will be 7.5. You're sewing 7.5 down. Okay, so we sew and stop at 16. Remember, you sew and stop at 16 from this armhole point here. You stop at 16. You're stopping at 16. Okay, move over to the second part. Remember, the chest we're working with is 41. Okay, so remember it's 15, that is 7.5. You can see it's 7.5. Okay, so sorry for the break transmission. We now want to continue. Remember, the sleeve, the round sleeve is 16, so you mark 7.5 to sew down. Sew down. Remember the chest is 40. So when you get to this point, you measure and check. Remember that from this point, take note. You take from this point down. Remember the chest is 40, so from this point down, you can see that it's 20. So you sew this down. Remember you're stopping at 16. You sew and stop at 16 from this armhole point. You sew and you stop at 16. Alright, so this is how you do your joining. So the next thing I'll be showing us is how to fold the down and also to fix, how to fold the down part and to fix the turtleneck. Okay, so at this stage we are through joining both sides. So we want to fold the edges. Remember we added 2 inch for the folding allowance, so we fold 2 inch out. Then fold this other part. You can decide to keep the down whichever style you want. This is how I prefer mine to take. I'm trying to put my hemigum so it will be in place. Okay, so at this stage we are through with the down parts, this folding. So you sew this folding round, you sew it round. So at this stage I want to show us how to cut the turtleneck. You want to fix the turtleneck. So the first thing you do, you get your collar stain. We are using a collar stain, a strong collar stain, or you can use a strong paper gum stain. Now the first thing you do is you fold. Remember our neck circumference is 16. The neck circumference is, so you fold your collar stain into 2 as shown. Now you now mark a straight line. Mark a straight line as shown. Alright. Now the next thing you do is you move down by ½ inch. Take note. Let's say from the folded point, there is 4.5. You move down by ½ inch. Then the next 4 inch again, move down by 1 inch. Take note, here was ½ inch, then this point was 4.5 inch. So you now connect with a curved rule as shown from this point. Okay, as you can see, then make sure the width of our turtleneck or bishop collar, I'll be using 1 inch. So I'm making it. Alright, so we need 2 of this. We need 2 of this. Take note. So we'll be cutting this out. Okay, so that is one. I'll be making another one again. Remember, okay, remember the neck circumference is 16. So here you make sure that the folding is more than 16. So I'm having 9.5 inch or 10 inch is fine. So I'm cutting at 10 inch. That is 20. Okay, so this is what you use. This is what you use. Remember, I said it's 2. It needs to be very, very strong so it will stand very well. Alright, so we get the fabric I will use. Okay, I'll be using this black fabric. So you pick up the shiny side and you place on the fabric. Remember the shiny side on the fabric. Remember it's 2, so you iron it down as shown. Remember the width, the length is 20 we are using, while our next circumference is 16. I will explain that later. Right, the next thing you do is watch carefully. You fold the curved part. This is the curved edge here, so you fold this down. Let me remove the little. Okay, so the next thing you do, you fold this down. Remember, at least ½ inch or 3/4 inch. So you fold this down and you iron this. Okay, so after folding this down, you go to your sewing machine and you sew. Remember, after folding, you're just to sew this in place. So you now sew this. So let's do that now. Okay, so as you can see, I'm through sewing. So the next thing I'll be using this fabric. I want to use a different fabric inside. So now place this as shown. Place this as shown, making sure that there is an allowance there. So what you now do is, you now sew at this point. Watch carefully. You're just sewing beside the collar stain. Okay, so now cut off the down part. Remember, it's the curved part, this down part that we're cutting off. So the next thing, now fold. Now iron this down. You turn this, now iron it down. You now fold this and iron it down. Make sure it is well relaxed. So when you're through, you now cut this other part, leaving at least a ¼ inch. That is what you use to sew. You're leaving a ¼ inch. Take note. Remember, you're leaving a ¼ inch at the down part. Okay, so that is what you use. So now put this together. Remove the excess. Now this is the middle. You put a notch at the middle. So this is what you use and sew. So the next thing I'll be showing us how to fix this. Okay, so at this stage we now want to fix our turtleneck. So now remember we tag this in, so I'm trying to lose it. Okay. So now this is the wrong side. Take note, this is the good side, this is the wrong side. So you start from the wrong side. So this is it. And this is also, now this is the good side and this is the wrong side. So the good side facing the wrong side. And this is the notch that we fixed. Then the notch goes to the middle. This is the middle there. So we sew. Watch carefully. We are sewing from the middle down. We're just sewing a ¼ inch down. Remember, the neck circumference was 16, but what you have here is 20. There will be an excess, which you see. So okay. So do this for the second side as well, starting from the middle again. Take a look, you see the excess here. As you can see, there is an excess. Look at the excess of the distance leg. Okay, so when you're through, then the next thing you do now, this is it. So the next thing you do now, this is the part where the buttonholes will be. This is the buttonhole part. So you take this to the back. It was this way. As you can see, this is a good side. Now take it to the back, as you can see. Okay, let's keep it this way. Take this to the back. Remember, this is a good side. As you can see, this is a good side. So now fold this back as shown. Now, there are some turtleneck. The mouth here will be either curved or it will be straight. So take note, it's either curved or straight. In this case, I'm going with the straight one. If you want a curved one, after folding this, you now sew from here and curve it. You sew from here and curve it to this point here. You sew and curve it. But in this case, I'm using the straight one, so I'll just sew a straight line from this point as shown. So I'm taking this to the back and I'm sewing a straight line. Like you said, you're sewing a straight line. So you cut off the excess. Then you now fold, you now turn this in. Remember I said if you want a curved one, sew it curved. Okay, as you can see. So you now top stitch. So at this stage you now top stitch. Remember we turned it back. As you can see, turned it back. So you now top stitch. You also do the same for the other part as well. You're trying to top stitch the edge. So remember, you also have this other part to sew as well. This other part, you remember, you take it to the back as well. You sew a straight line as shown. Sew a straight line. Then you take it back. You take it back. So we are taking it back, so you continue as sewing. So this is how you fix your bishop collar. Okay, so this is how to make a bishop collar or a turtleneck. So finally, remember, we've not sewn the down part of our folding, so once you're through with that, you now do the folding. You want to do the folding properly. We're just trying to sew around, so this is how you sew a simple top. Okay, so at this stage we're now through with all our sewing. Now this, as you can see, this is the bishop collar, the turtleneck. This is a well pocket. Remember we said you put a button, a fancy button. I'll be putting a fancy black button at this spot here. You put a fancy black button at this spot, both sides. Now you also put, remember we said it's a button down, so at this other part you put your buttonholes. So now the first buttonhole goes to this spot. Take note, goes to this spot here. Then the second buttonhole, 2-inch, goes to this spot. Then the next buttonhole, 3-inch difference down. As you can see, these are the buttonholes. So while this other part, make sure that the point where the buttonhole is, that is where you're fixing your buttons. So you're fixing your buttons at this other part. So this is how to make a simple button-down shirt, short sleeve, turtleneck with a Welt pocket. Once again, you're watching PJ Collection Clothings. Okay, so at this stage, we're now through with all our sewing. Now, this, as you can see, this is a bishop collar, the turtleneck. This is a Welt pocket. Remember, we said you put a button, a fancy button. I'll be putting a fancy black button at this spot here. You put a fancy black button at this spot, both sides. Now, you also put, remember we said it's a button down. So at this other part, you put your button holes. So now the first button hole goes to this spot, take note, goes to this spot here. Then the second button hole, 2-inch, goes to this spot. Then the next button hole, 3-inch difference down, as you can see. These are the button holes. So while this other part, make sure that the point where the button hole is, that is where you're fixing your buttons. So you're fixing your buttons at this other part. So this is how to make a simple button down shirt, short sleeve, turtleneck with a Welt pocket. Once again, you're watching PJ Collection Clothings.